Welcome to DAPS Magic Reports. I'm Mr. DAPS.
I'm Katie.
And this night, we are going to talk to you about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. We've both experienced it, and we're going to share our thoughts, our experiences, what we know about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge so that you can get the most out of your adventure to a galaxy far, far away. Starting off, if you don't want to know too much, don't watch this video.
We're going to say a lot.
It's almost the equivalent of saying we're going to have spoilers. And because you are entering a movie, you kind of are having spoilers. You're entering a Star Wars world. It really is that. So we were able to attend it, and it's absolutely incredible. And we'll just kind of go into what we saw, where we went, all of those kind of things. We entered through the entrance in the middle of Frontierland. I'm going to call it entrance number 2 because either direction that you come from, it's the middle one.
It is. It's the middle one.
And so that puts you right by the droid outpost, I think it's called. Yes. Droid Depot.
Yes,
That's what it is. And we weren't that smart to go into said Droid Depot because we had our minds and our hearts and our imagination set on seeing one thing and one thing alone.
We powered through. Honestly, tunnel vision.
Past the First Order cargo and the transport that was coming in, zoomed on by the cantina because who cared? Because right in front of us was the Millennium Falcon. And really, that's what it was all about. Like, didn't matter that the line was already at 40 minutes or something. It was like we wanted to see that Millennium Falcon.
To walk up to where we could see the Millennium Falcon, we had passed the line going past us because it was the start of a new reservation hour. So it was very packed because everyone, surprisingly, had the same idea as us.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? But so just to see the Falcon alone, we did walk past that line, and it was so worth it.
We got some pictures, and it was amazing. And what's that first thought, feeling, sense that you got as you see the Millennium Falcon?
Oh my God, it's real! Obviously.
So basically Galaxy Quest, when the kid's like, I knew it,
it's
real.
It's not real. No, all of it's real. I knew it! That was exactly me. Except I've always known that Star Wars was real because it's Star Wars. It's obviously real.
Absolutely. And it feels completely real. It's like you walked into A New Hope and you half expect to see Han Solo or Chewbacca walk off the ramp and right there to you. Yeah. It's the great thing about the way they did it, and we'll get into the attraction later, but just from a visual on the outside standpoint, is there's so many different places you can get good pictures, even with hundreds, if not thousands of people around. And so if you want a picture with the Millennium Falcon, there's a way to get a picture with the Millennium Falcon. And I think that's something that everybody's going to be super stoked about.
There are definitely better vantage points. Like there was one PhotoPass line when we were there that we actually...
It's kind of the money shot.
We asked the people in line, are you waiting in line for PhotoPass? Because it was directly under the Falcon, that shot, like right up to that.
You're up close and it takes up the whole shot.
Yeah. We took ones that were farther back.
That's the money shot.
And I honestly loved it. But there was people willing to wait very, very long.
It looked like at least a half an hour to get their picture with lightsabers and the Millennium Falcon.
It was longer than some of the times we waited for Smuggler's Run.
Yeah. So we actually started by walking around first, checking out the area. We walked past the Docking Bay 7. We walked past Doc Ondar's. We walked past the, I don't even know what they call it.
I've been calling it the Marketplace.
Marketplace. They call Black Spire Outfitters. I'm looking at the Disneyland app, by the way. They've so wonderfully put the map on there so we can just go on down.
Yes.
But we made our way through basically everything, checked out the atmosphere, and walked down and checked out the Resistance camp.
That was cool.
Yes, it is. And so they've got X-Wing, they've got an A-Wing, they have characters down there. We'll see what characters end up always being there because I just think that's going to be something we're going to learn with time.
What was super weird, and I know that I had this happen, and I remember, I don't know that we were together because I remember bringing it up to you after the fact, but I had wandered down that way towards where Rise of the Resistance will be, and I remember seeing Rey, and I had a moment of, that can't be Rey. It's someone really dedicated that's because she's in her Last Jedi costume. And so it was one of those, oh, it's someone that's bounding in the same colors or something. And then I was like, wait, no, that's Rey. And then I was like, well, of course it's Rey. It's the Resistance camp at Blackspire. Like, of course she's there.
And then you see Chewbacca walking around, too.
And then Chewbacca was there fixing things.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And interacting with things, and there was, like, broken gonk droids and broken everything, it seemed like.
So be willing to be able to fix things, because they were looking for engineers. They were looking for...
They were looking for people that could fix things, and people... apparently we're willing, and we've heard stories of people that are like, oh yeah, I'll go help you, and you get to do stuff.
You get to be part of the Resistance.
And use this thing. Like, this is becoming more and more important at Disneyland. Who would have ever guessed? Because it used to be an annoyance, but now it's your pad, and it's very important. It's part of the storytelling thing, and it is going to be ridiculous awesome. If you're not in the land because you didn't get reservations or whatever, spoiler alert, if you're on the Disneyland Railroad, you can connect to the pad. I didn't tell you that, though. It's just on YouTube now. But, whatever.
It's fine.
But it really is cool seeing the Resistance campment, seeing Rebel or Resistance, I guess, characters hanging out with the ships that we've grown up seeing. Like, I remember walking around the corner, I'm like, hey, there's an A-Wing here. And I think I even knew that there was going to be an A-Wing there because I'd seen pictures or something.
Because D23 did release pictures a couple weeks ago, I think.
So I saw stuff, and I knew it was going to be there, but walking around and seeing them right in front of you was really, really cool. And I'm actually really looking forward to when Rise of the Resistance opens, because I have a feeling we're going to get to go even closer, perhaps, to one.
I think the funniest thing is that my brain was a mix of, well, yeah, of course this is here, and oh my god, it's here.
Oh, totally.
Because you go into like the First Order camp and you see Kylo's ship, and part of you is like, well, yeah, this is where the First Order is.
And
like,
then it's a little bit creepy because you're wondering what's coming next.
Yeah, because you're like, okay, well, if Kylo's ship is here,
when's Kylo showing up?
We'll
find
out. But yeah, so it's stuff like that, especially in the Resistance camp, where it was like seeing those ships and being like, wait, that's here, and then we're like, yeah, it's Resistance. Anyway, I'm rambling, but that's.
Well, and some other cool things as you're walking around is you see Luke's land speeder from A New Hope, or at least what I assume is Luke's land speeder from A New Hope, and that was parked over in a garage or
there was a
area.
Couple land speeders.
Yes, but Luke's in particular was right there. That's the important one.
I know, I'm sorry.
The other one I didn't care. It probably is important too, but Luke's is the one that really jumped out.
True.
And you could just picture, Luke and R2-D2 and C-3PO crammed on board it and flying across Tatooine, and very, very cool. And then one of the things that as you're walking around, as we're talking about atmosphere, is traditionally in Disney theme parks, doors are open and wide, or if they're not open, they're wide and welcoming, and you're like, oh yeah, I go through this door to go to said store or restaurant or whatever, wherever you happen to be. In Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, almost every door was closed.
Yes.
And they're sliding doors, so you walk up to them, they automatically open, and then they close again behind you. Yes, because space and inclement weather and monsters and aliens and all that fun stuff.
You don't want a Bantha getting in there.
That is for sure. And or Minong, you never know.
So you never know.
And so it was really, I think the only door that was open was Smuggler's Run, as I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
So the attraction. So I'm going to assume that when Rise of the Resistance opens, that will be open as well. But you actually have to walk up and explore some things. And yeah, the signage is actually really subtle. So like Oga's Cantina has very subtle, almost, how would you describe it? It's almost like hieroglyphics.
Well,
on the
from
wall.
where we were standing, we were standing at Docking Bay 7. We were kind of trying to get our bearing, and we were looking around. We were like, what are we looking at? There was definitely kind of people at the outpost had just been like, well, this is the cantina, let me draw a martini. Yeah. Stuff like that. And there's the same thing at the droid outpost, where there's just kind of...
It's very rudimentary and very provincial. Not even provincial. It's
intuitive.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, this works. It's very practical.
Yes.
I had a can of paint. Here we go.
There's also Aurebesh, but I feel like it was, hey, if you travelers can't read Aurebesh...
Too bad.
It's a droid.
Yeah. So you look over there, you look the different directions, and really you have to either read Aurebesh, be really good at looking what these pictures are, or just stick your head in. And that was actually the more fun thing to do, was just wander around and walk in the doors and not knowing what was going to be inside each door. I think one of the big surprises for me was, which one was it I liked? Doc Ondar's.
I was going to say, you like
Doc
Doc Ondar's.
Antiquities. That was probably the best room in the entire land. You walk in and it's got ton of different, it says antiquities, but it's a collection of things that Doc Ondar has gotten from around the galaxy, and you find so many different creatures and helmets and different little valuables or trinkets that he's found as he's...
It's like a tchotchke shop.
It totally is. And that's where you can get some really cool artwork. There's some cool... what are they? Figurines, that'd be a good word. That's also where you get the holocrons. There's some really cool things
really cool holocrons.
I think there's some hats in there and stuff also for... I don't remember exactly what, but... there was a lot of very collectible... That's the collectibles shop for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. But also an amazing animatronic figure in there, which is, I'm assuming, Doc Ondar. And actually is, because I saw the stuff. But he's over working in the corner in very impressive, full-sized figure, and doing his thing. Mm-hmm. And just like, you could probably spend a good hour or two just chronicling all of the different references, Easter eggs.
There's a lot to see
details. I mean, I think you could probably find something from every movie, every TV show from Star Wars, and probably even some stuff coming up in the... I'm pretty sure I saw something in Mandalorian too. And so there's everything that Star Wars right now is represented, I'm pretty sure, in that store. In that one, I kept walking back into it because I was just so taken with how much stuff was in that room. And like, you could probably spend a good half an hour just looking at the helmets on this one wall.
I was say, at one point, I think I was in the marketplace, and I remember specifically you coming back and grabbing me and going, "You need to see this!"
Yeah.
And taking me back in there.
Yep.
Because I think that was one of the few places I hadn't been in Galaxy's Edge yet.
Well, it's not a place that you would normally just walk into. It has one door, and it's next to this giant figurine statue thing. And it honestly almost doesn't look like you're supposed to go in.
The first thing that you see when the door opens is a wall.
Yeah, it just doesn't look like anything's there.
It's a round building, and on the inside is another round wall. So it almost, like, if you stand outside and just try and look in the door, you can't see inside. Mm-hmm. So it almost feels, like you said, like you're not supposed to be there.
Or it's a restroom. Like, it kind of has that, you're like, oh, men here, women there, whatever.
Yeah. But...
Yeah. It's just not. And speaking of stores, though, moving over to the other area that's the whole, I don't know, store plaza, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of fun little stores there. And the thing that's amazing is all of them are ridiculously small. So it gives you the feel of each one is a shopkeeper that set up shop. Here's the toys, here's the clothes, here's the animals, here's the trinkets. I'm trying to think what else we saw.
That's pretty much
the shoulder puppet things.
Yes.
And I guess there's more coming that we didn't see yet, but there was a ton of things that I'm sure you've seen, from porgs to, I'm trying to think of all the things we saw.
Well, there's the Salacious Crumb, obviously,
which was very tempting. I kept going back to it. I'm like, oh, I really like this. I don't like it that much. It's expensive, but I really like it. But it's expensive.
There was all the
expensive
porgs.
One out.
There was the robes.
Mm-hmm.
There was blankets, patches, mugs.
The plushes were all over the place.
Yeah, there was shirts.
The little
hats.
Yoda plush is pretty cute.
Yeah, they almost looked like dog toys. Mm-hmm. Those ones, because they were almost like 2-dimensional designs.
They're supposed to be like handmade.
Yes, like, but those were very cute.
Got my mug there.
It's a good mug. There is another mug, but it's very large.
There's several of them, and they're all. This is actually the smallest mug I think that I found, and so it's got the Black Spire outpost on one side, and then the planet on the other side of Batuu, and very fun and very hard to pick what to get and not to get. just because there's so many options. There's other stuff we'll get into later that I really wanted to get, but that's not in that area of the store. But they call it Black Spire Outfitters, and
well, there's Black Spire Outfitters.
Oh, you're right.
There's
the Toy Maker, Creature's Doll, Jewels of Bith,
and Cat Sokka's Kettle,
and
Ronto Roasters, which is where you can walk in from the main plaza
and get food. It has kind of wraps thing, and we haven't tried that one yet. We will be. I can almost guarantee that'll be on the agenda
because
soon.
There's a pod racing engine.
We've got plans to go back to Batuu multiple times, and so this is the point too where we should say if there's anything you want us to film while we're in Batuu or take pictures of, please let us know because we have been blessed to get to visit again, and that's a really good thing. But so store area, fun, cute, surprisingly open.
Very, actually.
And it seemed to work fairly well. Like, I wasn't sure how that whole thing would play out, and it was fun because all the residents, I'm going to call them, were definitely wishing you bright suns, or what's the moon's one?
Tilspire, Rising Moons.
Rising Moon, bright suns, yeah. And we were lucky because we went in, well, it was still bright suns, and then it turned to Rising Moons. And that was kind of fun, too, just to see both day and night for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Yes.
We got food at Docking Bay 7, cargo and food. Is that what it's called?
Docking Bay 7, food and cargo.
And between our entire group, we tried almost everything.
Yeah, even the drinks.
We had almost actually, we had all of the drinks. And drinks were fine. Like, I don't know that any of them really blew me away, but they weren't bad either. They were like, very, this is good.
Fruity. Punchy.
Yeah, they're very, probably more sugar than I wanted. But
it's true. But it's
not into that kind of stuff. But the colors were great. They tasted good.
Yes.
I just don't know that I would drink those all the time. But I have nothing to complain about with them. The food, I thought the fried chicken was the best. It had a little bit of a kick to it that I think was kind of a pepper thing. It wasn't like super spicy. It just, there was a little bit to it. Your first thing you had was the...
First thing I had the...
Well, what you ordered.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
We tried everything. But
I was super confused. I thought I ate more. I got the pot roast, or the shock...
Yeah, they have funny
pot
names.
Roast.
Mine was the Yip Yap something. Or
Tip Yip. Fried Tip Yip.
Yeah.
I had the shock roast.
And it tasted good.
Meat was amazing.
I think we just wanted more meat with that. The ribs were really good. I actually think the ribs and the chicken might be the top two. I don't know. I keep changing my mind on what I thought the top two were.
And it was funny, too, because both of us were like, ooh, ribs. Oh, messy. And so we both stayed away from the ribs just because
Christina got the ribs.
Yeah, Christina got the ribs. She was
great. She ate it with her little spork thing, and she was good to go.
And they do give you little...
Hand wipes. Yeah.
So...
I think the real highlight, though, of the meal was the dessert.
Oh my
there's
gosh.
that chocolate, I'm forgetting the name of it.
It's the chocolate espresso mousse cake thing.
Very, very, very good.
It was delicious.
It was I would say it's one of my favorite in-park regular offered desserts that they have.
I would agree.
And I've basically had almost every dessert they offer at the Disneyland Resort. And that one was a solid home run that you could just go back to over and over and over again.
Definitely.
And I would probably, if I was picking the perfect meal there, it would be iced tea, because that's actually what I would prefer. And then the chicken, and then that dessert, because that would have been a perfect meal for me.
Yeah.
So I was pretty close anyway. I have no complaints. What else do we have? Oh, we tried the
blue and green milk
vegetarian. That's later. Vegetarian meatloaf. That wasn't at Outpost.
I thought you were moving on to other.
No, we're still
things we had consumed. We're still at dinner.
The vegetarian meatloaf was good. I don't know that it tasted as meatloafy as, say, the Impossible Burger.
I was gonna say, because we actually almost got it for dinner, because we had been told it was impossible, because we do really, really enjoy the Impossible brand, but then we looked and it only said plant-based, and we were actually kind of bummed.
So it's good, but it's not the Impossible Burger.
No.
Is basically what we're getting at.
Yes.
And I would actually probably get it again, but I would go in with the expectation that it's not going to be the Impossible Burger.
Definitely.
And then you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly meatloaf, but it's pretty good. See,
and I'm not much of a meatloaf person. I do like meatloaf, but I'm not...
I love love it.
I'm not so on board with meatloaf that I'm like, oh boy, I want meatloaf so badly. I'm willing to eat the garden loaf. But
true.
It was very good.
Yeah, I would get it. What else was on there? There's we didn't get the shrimp and noodles dish, but that did look good.
And there was a salad.
I think everybody was just starving by the time we actually got in there.
We were very hungry.
And so we were kind of going for what seemed most substantial for our group, and that was great. We can talk about the blue and green milk, though. We didn't try the green milk because as we were talking to our other traveler friends, there wasn't a lot of enthusiasm for the price point. And so these glasses of milk are not the cheapest glass of milk you'll ever get. What are they, $7, $8? $8. And so blue milk, I'm going to describe it as a vanilla with blue raspberry hints to it.
Yes.
Blue slushy milk thing. Mm-hmm. And it's good. I don't know what actually I think of it. Like, it was good. I can say I've drank blue milk. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. Would I go back and spend $8 on it again? Once in a while.
I honestly took a sip, and I remember you being like, oh, do you want more? And I was like, not really. And it wasn't because I didn't enjoy it. It was just because I had had enough of it. I felt like I had had my fill.
I feel like you have to try it.
Oh, yeah.
Because anybody who's ever watched Star Wars A New Hope watches Luke drink blue milk, and it's like you have to have blue milk.
And if you're in a group and you don't mind germs, definitely share.
That's the way I would go with both of them. And you definitely, especially the blue milk. Green milk I think is optional.
I've heard some people...
Give it another 20 years and the green milk will no longer be optional. You'll have to try that too.
I've heard some people rave about it. We've had friends
and we might try it the next time we go. Who knows?
Other travelers who have absolutely said, oh my gosh, no, you have to try the green milk. And I've had other people say wheatgrass. So...
But my childhood demanded the blue milk, so that's what we went with. And that's found at the milk stand. It's kind of over by the
First Order
Outpost. And one of the cool things story-wise they did is on the First Order side of town, which as you're facing to enter Galaxy's Edge from Frontierland, that would be on your right, or it's the first entrance by Fantasyland, that's kind of the First Order area. And they've got these really nice red flags that showcase the First Order. It's kind of interesting because it goes from
red flags,
really nice red flags, First Order emblem, then you kind of go into the Black Spire Outpost area, and it's like these old flags that are there's probably going to be some story that comes out of the comic book or one of the books that we haven't read yet that talks about the history of Batuu in this area that's going to explain those flags. And then as you move further to the left, or would that be south, I guess, the south end of the land, which is where the Resistance encampment is, then you kind of get into the woods and it's I don't think I saw there weren't any banners there, were there?
I don't believe so.
It was just kind of, you could tell that they had stuff set up and they were camped there. There's quite a few other experiences that you can do as well while you're at Black Spire Outpost, and one of them is the Droid Depot. And so this shop is a place where you can go, and for about $99, there's also another option, I believe. You can build your own droid. You can either build an R-series droid, so it'd be like R2-D2, or a BB series droid like BB-8. And it's cool because they've got a couple of those droids in the shop, and they're kind of interacting behind the register there, and then in the shop adjoining to it that I think is still considered the Droid Depot.
I believe so.
There's a full-sized R2-D2 that goes for a mere $25,000. That's it. You could go home with your own. Actually, I think they make it for you after you leave. But but you could have your very own R2-D2 for $25,000. And if you're the person that gets it, I want to meet you because I am curious what exactly that R2-D2 does for $25,000. But
makes you blue milk whenever you want.
But for $100 in Next Room, you can build your own. They're about yay big. And you can get a backpack for it.
They're so cute.
It does come with a box. But you get to pick exactly how you want to build your droid. And there's options. There's a conveyor belt going around to get different droid parts, which kind of is reminiscent of Empire Strikes Back. And it just looks like a fun little experience to take your droid with you and have that memory going home, and not just go out and buy something off the shelf, but have a droid that you built and I think it's cool.
It is.
This is also where you got your new headpiece, and they've got a couple of those, R2-D2, C-3PO, some other stuff. or not C-3PO,
BB-8.
BB-8.
I was like, wait, what? What did I miss?
R2-D2 and C-3PO always go together.
I agree.
So it just kind of flows.
The best part was that I walked up to you with this R2 headband, like it was a lost puppy. Like, can I keep it? And you were like, yeah. So, obviously...
I said you had to, basically.
Yeah, you actually did say that I had to. So... Makes noise. Pretty good. There's also an option, because it's very close to your ears, you don't really want it to make noise all the time. So you can just have the lights on. And this is $30. Discounts do apply. Ooh, I had to turn it off. But yes, I am very excited about this because I too.
So there's also there were some mugs in there. There's some other fun accessories that you can get in there. And it was a fun shop just to kind of watch people put these things together. And even if you don't want to spend the $100, there's a fence around the outside that you can watch from. And
it was
that was
super
very cool.
geeky Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And it's really fun because people get really into building their droids. And the other thing, we were actually talking to a friend about, people don't realize that they interact.
Yeah.
So a couple had actually gotten droids, and then they were like, why are they talking to each other? And it's like, well...
They're taking over the world.
It's true.
No, they interact, and it's cool.
Yeah.
Right next to that is Sabi's workshop, where you can build your own lightsabers. Same sort of concept, but more immersive, more hands-on with the shopkeeper, I guess is what they are.
Yes.
And really a lot more Star Wars lore pulled into this. There's different types of lightsabers you can make depending on what strengths you... It kind of reminded me of if you want to level up.
Oh, absolutely.
It was like, oh, this one does this one does that. One's defense, one's offense, all sorts of different things like that. And that one goes for about $200, give or take a little bit more after tax, obviously. And that's a very it's a surprisingly very nice lightsaber. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, and it comes with a nice case, but you can hit the lightsaber and it makes the noise, and it
is
lights up, and
combat ready saber.
That's a good way to put it. And
I've seen cosplay sabers go for more than that.
And you can see one on last week's Geeks Corner, being a week and a half ago, I guess, but it's still last week. But sure. But yeah, very cool. And this is a thing where you're not just getting a souvenir, but you're also getting an experience to go with said souvenir. And so this is their version of the wand, if you're thinking of.
But this one is even more interactive. You do have to sign up.
Yeah, you need reservations ahead of time.
For a spot.
And there might be reservations needed for the droid thing. It kind of depends on how crazy that store ends up being, and or shop, and they're figuring that all out.
But
who knows? That might be changed by the time we go live.
Because the thing with Ollivanders is that there's a ceremony and one person. Yeah. Like the wand speaks to the one person. Savi's, you get to choose your kyber crystal. You get to build your lightsaber with whatever materials.
Yep.
You want. If you want your handle to be a Rancor tooth that had a cavity, you get to have...
Yeah, they give you lots and lots and lots of options.
Yes.
And that's a really cool thing. And we were playing with the lightsaber the other night, and it's
really fun.
It was pretty cool.
It's very cool.
The other really hot spot, I guess you could say, that's in that general area is on the back side of those buildings, and that's Oga's Cantina. And I think the real highlight there is getting to see DJ Rex, who we haven't seen in action for a while.
Almost
he's been
8 years.
He's been gone a while. He's been off reinventing himself, and he's done a fantastic job. He's found his new home. It's there on Batuu, and I don't think we'll give a whole lot away about what he does, what he says. I will just say that if you loved him in Star Tours, you're gonna love him on Batuu, and you're gonna love how he's grown and hasn't forgotten where he's come from. How is that for
That was amazing.
That's exactly what
done.
It is. As for the bar itself, or the cantina itself,
yes,
that is an experience. Absolutely. It is an experience you need to bring your patience and grace to, because while it's an incredible experience, it's also an incredibly popular experience. So order everything you could possibly want at once.
Yes.
Because you will get them much quicker that way, and there is a bit of a time constraint.
So you do have an hour.
And your best bet for quicker service is probably to get to the bar as opposed to getting a table. And if you're cool with that, you're probably going to have a quicker, more enjoyable experience. I'll be curious to see if it stays the same size as it goes on. I don't know if there's any room for expansions or whatever, but I already feel like this is something that needs more.
Yes.
And that was probably the consistently most popular thing we saw while we were there.
Absolutely.
DJ Rex looks exactly like you'd expect. The cantina is a cantina. It's really cool. But and you just have to be aware that this is the most popular thing it looks like currently.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy.
Or the highest demand thing, because it just doesn't have as much room as other areas do.
It's true.
So just know that if that's your priority, do it early, because one, you're going to wait to get in, and two, once you're in, there is a bit of pressure to get through the whole thing. Absolutely. So it's not a sit back and relax kind of thing. And we'll see what the traffic flow happens with that as time moves on. I'm sure we'll bring this up on Geeks Corner at some point, just to see if it continues to be insane, literally from opening to close, or if it's one of those things that for the first 3 hours of the day, nobody goes. I don't know what's going to end up happening. We'll find out, and we'll let you know as we watch the traffic flows and the trends of where guests end up at Galaxy's Edge. One other cool thing before we get to the other main thing that happened while we were in Galaxy's Edge is because it was evening, early evening to dark evening, yes. I'm going to say.
Yes.
We were able to experience the fireworks from Black Spire Outpost, and that is super cool. It's a little bit loud.
Very loud.
If you have sensitive ears, you might want to go over to by the Resistance area. But it looks super cool, and I predict that it's going to become a new favorite place for photographers, is to try to find the really cool Black Spire Outpost with fireworks behind it somehow. You're going to have a really wide lens to be able to pull off the Millennium Falcon, I think, but you never know. But that was really cool, and to me, I just wanted to hear the music from the end of Return of the Jedi. Especially if we could have gotten the original Ewok music, that would have been super cool. But really, it was really a fun surprise, and it was kind of one of those things I wonder if this is gonna happen, and I wonder how close it's gonna be. And it's super close because
it's right on top of you.
It feels like it's right on top of you. It was.
But it was an experience that I don't think that we've ever had at Disneyland.
No, it was really cool. If you feel like you're close by, say, Small World or the back of Fantasyland, nothing compared to where it was really cool. Like
Disney World, we're completely familiar with the feeling of fireworks being on top of us.
But even that was closer than Hollywood Studios.
Definitely.
This was.
Yeah. No, it was.
I was back in that vicinity during a fireworks show once, probably 15 years ago. And this was the closest. It was actually one of the creepiest times I've ever been at Disneyland, because I was in the middle of Big Thunder Ranch, waiting for a show by myself, and the fireworks went off, and I think I was okay there. I don't know, but
apparently you were.
A manager said, "Stand here," and I was like, "Okay, I'll stand right here." And then the next thing you knew, there was fireworks right above me, and that was actually fairly close to where we were as we were watching the fireworks, but. It's going to be a popular thing, I think, in the evenings, and it really was gorgeous. But the most gorgeous thing in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is easily the Millennium Falcon. We're circling back to where we started. Oh, actually, before we do that, we didn't talk about there is the First Order cargo ship and little store down there, and you can get all of your First Order needs. It's right there next to the entrance if you're coming from the Fantasyland/Thunder Trail entrance.
Small little shop, because that's all you need to be First Order.
Apparently. But you will be able to get all of your First Order needs, hats, merchandise, memorabilia, right there next to the transport, and you'll be happy if that's the way that you like to go with your life. Clearly, that's not really our direction, because we kind of looked at it and went, that's good, let's take a picture. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And then it was all back to the Millennium Falcon. The most beautiful thing in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, it is the ship. And as you go on Smuggler's Run, you are getting to go into the hangar, and it's really the whole complex. There's the hangar, there's the mechanic bay, whatever you want to call it, and you walk into this entryway, and you hang a right, and you're walking behind the Millennium Falcon. And as you're walking by, you hear people working on her, you hear it powering up and them testing things, and you hear things going right and things going wrong. And it's going to be a very fun queue to be a part of. We walked through it fairly quickly almost every time, but there was so much storytelling happening, not just with the land itself, but the people who lived there and worked there as well. And I'll just keep going because you're going to die.
I'm not crying.
Yet. And so you walk around, and you're walking around underneath it, and it's really fun. And you just expect to see like R2-D2 roll up next to you or something, or Chewbacca to start yelling at you because you're doing something. And then
very true.
Yeah, and then you walk into this mechanic bay, or I guess I don't know, it's a hangar where they're working on a bunch of ships.
I would say it's the mechanic bay because you do overhear some people speaking to each other,
trying to fix a rocket or an engine and all this stuff for Hondo.
And do keep your eyes out on the engines and the things that are in the queue.
There's lots happening.
Because while they're working on it, it's interacting.
Well, and I was picking up different Easter eggs and
yes,
nods to different movies as we were going through this bay as well. So there's a lot to look at and to analyze and pick up, and there's even some humorous things that they've put in. There's a lot of humorous things in there that they put in that are nods to different elements of the movies and Star Wars as a whole. So you basically end up walking up these trestle kind of things that go up into the mechanics bay, and you're seeing all of these different things, and you're hearing different mechanics working and people talking about Hondo and the First Order and all this stuff, and you're going back and forth on these trestles, and then you end up at what I'm going to call the second level, and you basically have doubled back now at this point, and you find yourself going around the outside wall again, right above where you entered, and right below you, in front of you, is the Millennium Falcon also continuing to be worked on, and that is one of the best views of the Millennium Falcon anywhere. It's what you expect. I mean, that's really the moment where I was like, I really expect Chewie to be sitting right here on the back working on the Millennium Falcon on top of it. And you get to see all of these different things that just look so familiar from the movies, and you're looking out over the land, and it just looks like it's ready to go and take off, and they've completely recreated exactly what your imagination expects if you were to be in a hangar around the Millennium Falcon. Like, the best moment I can pick up from it that it reminds me of is really the first time you see the Millennium Falcon in A New Hope, because it kind of feels like that docking bay on Tatooine in Mos Eisley Station, and it really does have that feel. There's different coloring, and it's obviously Batuu and not Tatooine, so it's more grays and instead of tans, but it really does have that moment. And it's at this point you're really starting to pick up to the fact that Hondo's looking for people to join his crew. I'm boring, Katie. And
I'm so sorry.
And
my emotions tire me out.
Apparently. But you're starting to pick up to the fact of where you're going and what's about to happen. And so you go all the way down this hall. The entire time you can see the Millennium Falcon. You flip around. You go back down halfway down that hall. And then you get split up into groups, and one group goes to the right, one group goes to the left, and you kind of stand in this little hallway, and then you enter into this. It's another bay, but it's kind of a briefing room, and there's a big window at the top, and there's screens, and then Hondo Ohnaka's right there in the middle in his animatronic form that's absolutely amazing. And if you didn't want spoilers, you're getting them now, so stop.
Getting them.
And so Hondo basically says that he's borrowing the Millennium Falcon from Chewie. Chewie is kind of agreeing, but kind of not. He's on the screen. And then he recruits us.
Yes.
He's looking for a crew. He wants us to go do this thing. So you get to do it. And then you go through, and you basically, at this point, think of it going on the ramp to an airplane.
Oh, absolutely.
You've now gone through this. You're going down the ramp. And it actually feels kind of flexible, and it has that feel of like
temporary.
It's movable and it's temporary, and you get down to the bottom of the ramp, and they split you up into groups of 6, and that's where you get your assignments for where you're going to be on the ship, or you just trade with your friends, or just say, hey, I'm going to be the pilot, and they're like, okay, Mr. DAPS, and that's probably that moment you get your little pads, or your little, I don't know what they are, your little cardboard things.
They're little cardboard.
And each color determines where you're going to end up. Each team gets a color, and then they say, okay, go through this door, and you go through this door, and that's where the magic really happens, because that is the moment you've stepped aboard the Millennium Falcon. You've walked through that airlock, and you're in the hallway that we've all seen, we all know, we all love, and then we find ourselves in the room where Luke Skywalker first was trained to be a Jedi by Obi-Wan Kenobi, because this is what we felt and what we experienced. And so you see the table in the corner, you see you see the bed where everybody's really been at some point when they get hurt, whether it's Luke hurt or Chewie hurt or whatever. They've all been there. There's buttons to push everywhere. There's some of them do things. Well, they all do things, but some of them really do things, and like smoke and stuff happens, and you have to fix it. But this is your kind of waiting area when you're in this lounge area, and that's whole walkway from getting off the ramp to into that room. You just like, oh, this is real. That was when I cried. It was good. Really bad. It was really cool. That was when I just sobbed endlessly. You're on the Millennium Falcon, and so you're waiting in there. There's other groups in there. You can look around. There's plenty of room. You can just imagine that Han is going to walk through the door at any second, or Chewbacca, or Rey, whoever, and then they call your group, and your green group, and so they put the pilots and the gunners and then the engineers lined up. They say, all right, it's your turn, and you're going to go, and you go right down the hallway where you're supposed to go, and you go past the two gunner, like you turn left, and you're into the well, actually, they take you into this little, it's right outside of the cockpit. Yeah. And you see another video that Hondo's telling you what's going to happen and where you're going to go and what the mission specifically is. And then you look behind you and you can see up and down. I think this is where you can see up and down the ladder going to the two gunner turrets that Luke and Han climbed in A New Hope, and then obviously so did Finn in The Force Awakens. But then once you've seen this video, door slides open, has the right sound, it's exactly what you expect, and in front of you is the cockpit for the ship that we all know and love. That was the second time I cried. And that's when I told her to buck it up, because we're about to fight with the Millennium Falcon and we're not going to lose. Well, I had gotten a talk in the lounge area. Yep. I had gotten you need to stop crying, because this is important. We can't crash Millennium Falcon. I was cannot crash. And tough then, it out. Yeah, tough it out, Tiger. And then when we saw the cockpit, I went, and you went, not now. It was great. So yes. I sat in Han's place. I sat in Chewie's place. She was in Chewie's. We had Christina. We had a bunch. We had a whole group of 6, which was perfect. We did. It Kevin, was perfect. All these people. And so we had a good crew. We took off. You fly. You go on the mission. Everybody has a role. It actually takes a bit of focus to do this. Oh, yeah. And so the gunners are shooting as you'd expect. The engineers are fixing things. They're also in charge of a harpoon, because part of the mission is you're getting some stuff that you're taking from First Order, I think, and so you have to take it from this train that you have to basically shoot the last car off the train twice and get that stuff, and then the pilot on the left is going right and left and braking and all of that fun stuff. Pilot on the right is up and down, and then helping you, taking you to hyperspace. You really need to try each role, so you're going to have to wait in line a bit, and you have to go back. There is single rider, so that is helpful as well. But you really got to do them all, and it really is amazing, because it feels like you are flying the Millennium Falcon, and it was interesting because it was different. Yes, we had different experiences, and that was cool. I will say, I know there's kind of been some talk, because I know people don't really love motion simulators. Mm-hmm. I would take Dramamine. Yeah, it's not as intense as, say, Star Tours or, I guess Star Tours is the best example.
Yes.
More intense than soaring over California or soaring around the world.
More intense to me than Flight of Passage. Because Flight of Passage is pretty easy for me, actually. Yeah. It's not very intense.
I would put it fairly close.
Flight of Passage does not make me feel ill. It also might have been that we did it multiple times fairly close together.
Yeah.
But I was definitely feeling it.
Okay.
So I'm fairly sensitive to motion simulators. So I would say if you're concerned about it, just be safe and take non-drowsy Dramamine.
And I would say it's probably more intense than Flight of Passage. Like, Flight of Passage has more calm. Movement, but it's all smooth and kind of, it's very, it's an animal moving, whereas this is mechanical and you're crashing and getting hit
depending
by
on
blasters.
How your team is.
Yeah, it could be like our first time versus our third time, completely different ship.
It's very accurate.
Like the first time we walked out and there was like lights flashing and
we
things
were still
happening.
Told, oh wow, you did better than we expected.
Yeah.
But
by the third time we got a legitimate good job.
Third time it was like, you got to get out of here. I got to fix it up before Chewie goes, but good job. I was like,
that was the first time, right?
No, that was third time.
Oh, I thought
because third time we were down a gunner and an engineer.
Okay.
So they did have to do some fixing, but...
Got it. But our score was way higher.
But our score was way higher.
So, anyway. This is the ride that I think Star Wars fans have been waiting for since they became Star Wars fans. Like, I was talking to a friend at a show last week, and I was telling him, I'm like, we grew up playing with cardboard boxes in backyards. This is the Millennium Falcon. This is Death Star and all that stuff, and now we're actually getting to do that, and I'm really hoping that this is an attraction that, like Star Tours, as time goes by, they can create more alternative missions to
and
go
I would
on.
Definitely think that there would be.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that would work out, but I totally think it'd be cool if they could have the different options that line up to things.
Absolutely.
Kind of like Star Tours: The Adventures Continue, and but even without it, it's one of those things that you can do over and over and over and get better and better and better. And especially if you have a group that you pull together and you kind of learn to do it together, I think that's the way to get the super high score at some point. And that's the really, really cool thing. What else was there that we really blew us away, I guess? That was really the highlight of the whole evening.
Oh my gosh.
Seeing stormtroopers walking around was also very cool. A little bit almost intimidating, but that's just going to get better with time too, is the atmosphere and the people that bring it to life, because that's really the difference between just a really cool place and a living, breathing land, which this has already become, and it's really cool. It will be interesting to see as we're looking forward, though. So from now until June 23rd, really 24th, you have to have reservations to get in. I am curious to see what the 24th after and on looks like, whether that's virtual queuing, whether that's how they exactly pull that off. It will be interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to see if it becomes like Cars Land, where it's still fairly busy but not that 9-hour wait that was opening weekend.
Definitely.
However many years ago, 2012. And
yeah, because that was DCA 2.0.
Yeah, I was there for that, and we'll be there for this one
June
too.
June 15th, 2012.
That's right. That was a fun day.
I know dates.
But what was your huge takeaway from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge?
Probably that I got to do Star Wars like the whole time, and I know I've already said this tonight, but it was very that I went to Star Wars, and
it's real,
and I saw the Millennium Falcon, and it was everything. I don't want to say it's everything I expected, because it sounds like there was no surprises. There was nothing to blow me away. But it was everything I could have wanted. And I was not left at any point going, oh, I wish that there was this, or I wish that there was that. I was very immersed the entire time.
And I cannot wait for Rise of the Resistance.
We got to, the queue area is visible from
looks cool.
Resistance Base.
It's very cool.
But I'm so excited to be able to get in there.
Well, I just think with the bar that the Millennium Falcon Smugglers run has set, like, it's just going to be ridiculous. And I can't, like, part of me can't imagine what it's going to be like, just because I wouldn't have imagined how cool the Millennium Falcon would really be. And if I were to give tips for Galaxy's Edge to get the most out of it, there's two things I would say. Is first, prioritize. Know what you're going to do before you go in.
Definitely.
Come in with a plan. And even if your plan is to not have a plan,
but
know that comes with that is you might not get to do everything. And that's totally cool because you can always go back. But the other thing I would say is beyond prioritization, bring your patience as well. This is a living, breathing land with... you got the First Order there, you got the Resistance there, you've got the locals there, and it's all new, and we are guests in this area, and it's going to be ridiculously popular. Like, it's Star Wars. It's come to life. It's everything she just said. Millions of other people are going to be thinking and feeling as well, and they're going to want to feel that. They're going to, if they haven't felt it yet, they're going to want to feel it again if they have felt it. And so I just think this is going to be something that's insanely popular.
And it's a poor little abandoned outpost. The Resistance took up base in, the First Order found them, and now they've got all these other travelers on their hands.
Yeah.
So
prioritize, bring your patience, and really just come in with a sense of positivity and fun. Like, you're going to have a blast. And it really is with all things Disney and really anywhere. So much of the things that you take out from it and the experience you have are directly proportional to what you bring into it. So bring in that spirit of adventure, that spirit of, I'm going to experience Star Wars and have a blast with it. I'm going to go see Chewie work on a gonk droid, whatever it is, and have fun with it. Go try some different foods. Maybe you'll like them, maybe you don't. If you don't like them, it's not the end of the world. You just didn't like it.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of the experience too. If you liked everything, how would you know what you didn't like? And I think that's part of it, is like there were elements of, like, I really, really liked the Ongar's store.
Yes,
I keep forgetting.
Yes. Doc Ondar's.
Yeah, I love Doc Ondar's. The whole other area of shopping, I was kind of like, oh, that's cool. And I kept finding myself gravitating to different areas that pulled me really back in. Whereas I saw other people, including in our group, that really loved going to the toy shop or really loved going and seeing the animals there. In fact, there's this sleeping animal in one of the shops. It's so cool. You really wonder if it's going to hop up and, like, snarl at you at any second or something. Like, I had more people like, does it jump up at you?
It was very Frank and Wendy.
It was pretty funny.
Also with the be willing to, like, come in and be positive. Also, if opportunities present themselves, always yes and, never no but.
Yeah. Because
I think that
play along.
There was a lot of cast members that kind of were telling their own stories. Like, there was, in Line for Smugglers Run, we had a custodial cast member walking through the queue. Yes, we had a custodial resident, forgive me, walking through the queue, and he was helping clean up a trash can, and he was like, have you guys seen a tall guy covered in fur? We were like, yeah, it sounds kind of familiar. We probably have seen him. And he goes, good, I'm hiding from him. And then went out a back door, like a sliding door.
Facing us, like the back rear.
Yeah.
Like, it was really funny.
But there's so many opportunities to have more stories be told than what there is at face value.
So play along.
You just got to play along. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And really, that's going to make or break half of it also, because if you really play along and encourage that, I just think more of it will come, and that will make it even better as
Definitely.
Well. And it'll be fun to see too, as time goes on, the differences and the similarities between the one at Disneyland and then the one at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Definitely.
At Walt Disney World. And I look forward to experiencing both of them, and just seeing also if the same things are popular at both resorts, and see where people are drawn in both resorts. It's going to be really fun to watch as we're moving forward. As we do move forward, though, know that there will be more videos, there will be more photos coming, there will be a lot more commentary. We're gonna do a lot of different things as we can with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Obviously, it's contingent on us returning to Batuu as many times as we possibly can. I believe we have 2 trips planned currently.
Yes.
But We will do our best to give you tons of coverage from Batuu, but let us know what you'd like to see. Also, we're going to be covering all these other things this summer, whether it's the college band that returns to Disneyland this summer, whether it's some of the other fun things going on at Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. There's Tale of the Lion King. There's lots of really cool things happening that DAPS Magic will be covering both here at Walt Disney World and wherever else we possibly can. So make sure you're subscribing to not only this YouTube channel, but also our website. You can go to dapsmagic.com. There's a subscription little form on the right. Make sure you subscribe to that so you don't miss anything. And always leave comments and let us know what you like and what you want more of and what you're interested in, because we love to engage with conversation with you on YouTube or on the website as well. And then share. If you like the video, share it. And let other people like it too, so we can get more feedback that way as well. Because really, we just love Disney, and we love geekdom, and we love sharing it with you, which is why we do all this stuff and sit in a corner on a late night. And it's actually not too cold. It started out kind of cold.
No, I'm freezing.
Okay, but that's why we do what we do, is because we love to geek out with you about Disney stuff, and it's a blast. Make sure to watch Geeks Corner on Tuesday nights at 9:30 at thegeekscorner.com, or just watch it on this YouTube channel. But we hope you're having an absolutely magical week. We hope that we'll get to see you in the parks. And we also hope that we will see you in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.